West Michigan. This is Tap In West Michigan podcast. My name is Pamela Keim. I'm from Grand Tap Media. I am collaborating this podcast with Stephanie Kolakowski from Grow Business Today. We do a weekly podcast and we introduce people, nonprofits, missions, and I guess services that can help us thrive. We have a very special guest for you today. I've always wanted to have her on my show because I know the value of communication. I am a member of Toastmasters International. I am in a local club here at the Granville Jenison Chamber. I've been part of that since 2014, and I've seen my whole life change by building communication skills and leadership skills. So I want to welcome a veteran. She's 20 years into Toastmasters. She's had every position, and she's going to share more about that. But I want to welcome to the show and say hello to Stephanie Kolakowski, too. Lisa Waalkes. Hello, Lisa. I want to say hello to Stephanie. Stephanie, say hello to your fan. Can you hear me?
We're happy to be here today.
All right. She's going to learn a little bit more about Toastmasters. We're gonna bring this along, and then Lisa's going to tell us a lot about it. And with the world the way it is with virtual, how things are more like you see right today. We're right on screen, and you want to still get your message out. You still want to reach more clients, and you can do it now outside of West Michigan. So Lisa's going to share with us the skills that you will need to communicate your mission and get those clients and move beyond your wildest dreams like I have. All right, Lisa, back to you.
Well, first off, thank you, Pamela, and thank you, Stephanie. I know, Pamela, I have watched you grow in your Toastmaster journey, and you, I always say, are the poster child for Toastmasters. When you first started, you were shy. You didn't necessarily want to speak. You needed some confidence, and that's what I see best in people who join the Toastmaster organization. It's a worldwide organization.
Yeah. So tell us about, right from the beginning, for those that don't even know what the word Toastmasters come from, because you did the whole history on the Toastmasters, which was a great speech to learn more about that. So share a little bit for people that are listening to this, especially on radio or on their computers. What is Toastmasters and what can it do?
It can do a whole lot to anyone's lives. Actually, it was founded in 1924 by a gentleman by the name of Ralph Smedley. He was working at a YMCA in Illinois. And he decided at that time, back in 1924, well, it was actually in the early teens that he was started this. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to help young men be able to speak clearly, to be able to get their point across. So he started a Toastmaster group. It went well for a little while, but then he ended up moving out to California. And the place that he had started actually in Illinois died because he was the magic of that. So when he moved out to California, this was in the 1920s. In 1924, Toastmasters International was officially started. So
Wow.
I absolutely love the history of Toastmasters. It's been around since 1924. So in a couple of years, we'll be celebrating 100 years in helping people work on their communication and leadership skills.
And that is so vital today, I think, with like we said, everything's virtual. Everybody's kind of trying to communicate their message. And you and I know when people can, I guess, mesmerize, or they're following you because they understand what you're saying, you're going to be more apt to sell your products and your services, and you understand that. And Stephanie definitely understands that. So Stephanie, we're going to ask her a little bit about how you got into it and what it's done for you, Lisa, and why you already know what it's done for me. So let's talk about what you got into this 20 years ago. What made you even get in it?
Well, actually, I got into Toastmasters 30 years ago when I was a brand new manager at BDO USA. I work for BDO USA. We're an accounting firm here in the Grand Rapids area. And at that time, I was a brand new manager, and someone came up to us and said, "We'd like to start a Toastmaster club." And of course, I didn't know what that was at the time, but I was brand new manager. I was ready and raring to go. I wanted to make my I don't even know what to call it. I just wanted to make a difference. And so I joined a Toastmaster club. We were only open for about a year and a half because in the accounting profession, we come across something called busy season. And what happens is when busy season happens, all of our accountants, our tax people kind of disappear because they're busy.
Yeah.
So we couldn't have meetings. So we decided at that point to disband the club. But then 10 years after that, someone knew that I was involved way back then, and they called me up and said, we'd like to start again. And I said, okay, if we do this, we're going to change things around a little bit. So at that point, we decided to have an open club sponsored by BDO.
And tell them what that means, because they
And-
have closed clubs
and-
and open clubs.
Yep, there are many different corporations that have clubs specific to the organization. Back in 1990, when we opened up my BDO club, we were what we considered a closed club. And at that time, that means that only the individuals that work for that company are allowed to go. It could be because of security reasons, it could be a lot of different things. But many corporations sponsor Toastmaster clubs, and there are several corporations around the greater Grand Rapids area that have clubs, and around the world there are many corporate clubs. Big corporations sponsor Toastmaster clubs, but then there are also community clubs, and that's when we in 2002, that's when we reopened our BDO Toastmaster Club, and it has been one of the top clubs in our district ever since that time.
Well, everybody's so professional, and I will say, and it's nice to have it at the location where you work. I think that's one of the benefits, where you guys are just down, your copier's down the hall, you guys all know, and you guys are professionals already. And so to take on another task like this is just very well organized. And it's in a corporate, in your boardroom, which is really nice. It's really cool.
Yeah, one of the great things too about having it at BDO or having it at your location is we are an open club, so we have many members from our club that are in lots of different professions. We have real estate people, we have financial advisors, we have individuals who work in banks, we have lots of different people over the years that have been a member of Toastmasters. We have a gentleman who now is a life coach. So what he does is he actually coaches individuals. So it's just a wonderful organization,
Well,
and it can help.
physicians too, right? I mean,
Oh yeah. Well, Dr. Chet, he's one of our he is actually one of our Toastmaster members, and it is just so much fun. Normally the Toastmaster meetings only last about an hour long. Our meeting at BDO goes from noon on Wednesdays, from noon o'clock, from noon until 1. And what we do is we value the time that people have in life because everyone is busy. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that the meetings start on time, the meetings end on time. So there are a lot of different skills that you learn through a Toastmaster club.
Right.
I can go.
And this is the
go on.
communication. Okay, let's talk about, because we're out here, and Stephanie's out here. She's a very good communicator. Look, to me, I felt like she's very well trained. But there are people that do presentations. And talk about when you speak, you may not even realize you're using those filler words. Your presentation, what do you call it? You're not wrapping up your speech. You're putting too much details in. This is what it trains you to do when you're speaking. So let's talk about that and what that's done for you to have that strong communication skills when you're trying to explain things in your industry.
Absolutely. There's a system for a Toastmaster meeting. One of the most important parts of the Toastmaster meeting, or of any meeting, and the beauty is you can take what you learn in a Toastmaster meeting and take it out to whatever profession you are in. We always have an agenda. How many times have you all been in meetings where the meeting just kind of goes on and on and on? Yeah. Well, if you have an agenda, or if the person who was running that meeting had an agenda to begin with and shared the agenda with some of the participants, the meetings might be a little more efficient. So we learn efficiencies in Toastmasters by following an agenda. We have what we call a timer. So very specific parts of the meeting, there is a timer. So they hold up a green, a red, a yellow card, or so that whoever is speaking knows that, okay, I have to wrap things up. So it's important to learn some of the skills that you have in the Toastmaster meetings. The agenda is just one portion of that. So there are 3 basic parts to a Toastmaster meeting. Each of the members join, and the amount to join is a very, very minimal fee, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But there are 3 parts to the Toastmaster meeting. There's a prepared speech. So generally in a regular 1-hour Toastmaster meeting, there are 2 speakers. They usually speak in between 5 and 7 minutes long. So what we're trying to do, and it can be about anything that it could be anything they're working on. Maybe it's a passion. I know last night at our Granville Jennison Chamber Toastmaster meeting, I was the speaker, and I talked about the snowman family that I built. Now,
It's incredible. It is. It's incredible, you know.
It was just fun. And the reason I built that snowman family was, all right, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I can get out there and go in the snow and enjoy this wonderful weather that we have in the state of Michigan. And I ended up building like 12 snowmen the other day when we got the wet snow. And it's just so fun. I built it right outside right outside my window here, and cars drive by. My mail lady absolutely loves it. So that was just a small portion that I shared in my Toastmaster meeting. So it could be something fun, like building a snowman family and the reasons why you build a snowman and the mechanics of it. And then I also shared that one of my goals this year was to move more. Well, it's a perfect way for me to move more by building snowmen. And then it's also helping other people enjoy the beauty that is around us. It was just so amazing
But
that
isn't
cars
it wonderful?
will go by.
I think that's fabulous, and I'm putting that out on social media platforms.
Yeah.
Now you get people that will do speeches on their products. Let's talk about that, because we're dealing with a lot of people in business, and you're in business, and trying to get you don't have a lot of time to get out there and do your presentation, especially if you're at these networks. Now you only have maybe 5 minutes. And Toastmasters can teach you to say what you need to say in 5 minutes and keep people's attention, covering all the areas, 3 things, maybe 3 or 4 bullets. Share a little bit about that, how you've seen people come here and present, and they just get down and get it down, and then finally they get it down in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, we have one of our Toastmaster members in the Granville Jennison Chamber Toastmaster meeting that really utilized the club atmosphere and that in practicing to get what he wanted to say within that time frame. And what he did was, each meeting, he wanted to speak because he wanted to be able to present his product professionally. And he did that. And I am so proud of him right now. And
doing very well. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you never know when you're going to have a mic in front of your mouth, right? You want to be able to speak. Let's talk about something. Stephanie, do you have something to ask her? Because I could go on and on, because I am a very much pro Toastmasters, because it changed my life. I couldn't even speak in 2014. Not to say I'm the best, but I'm a lot better. Stephanie, I'm going to let you talk.
Okay. So Lisa, you said something in the beginning and that I could relate to, and I want to go back a minute and kind of ask a couple more questions, because like you, I found myself in the start of my career, I was the youngest appointed female manager in the company, any manager in the company, at 23 years old, overseeing a department. And I'm 36 now. And I think a lot of times when people are promoted into roles, obviously there's a reason why. So someone recognizes a talent, but you're not really, in many companies, there's not really this roadmap to communication or how to address different situations. And when you have to command a room and you're coming in a room younger than your staff, it can be a little intimidating sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So for you, Lisa, when you, what did Toastmaster and that, because it sounds like you were a young manager too when you got started, how do you think that best prepared you? Did you find yourself in that same feeling or seat, and did it give you more confidence?
Absolutely. It definitely gave me more confidence, because when you're a new manager, you don't necessarily know what you're doing. You watch people, you listen to people, and that's what you learn in a Toastmaster meeting. You're learning how to listen to people. You're learning not to use those filler words such as and or 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 like. How many times are you in meetings when you hear some of those filler words? And sometimes they're like the higher up people in the company.
Yep. And too, if you're modeling behavior that's not, you know what you know. So if you're learning from your manager or your mentor, and maybe there's some things that they don't have in their tool belt yet that could really help you, it's great to get different perspective. You said something else that was super interesting, and I was like, aha, Oprah, aha moment. Is you said the comment that, you know, you teach about having an agenda when you're going to meetings and circulating that agenda prior to the meeting. And I can't tell you, even getting started myself, how many times people and leaders go into meetings and it's a meeting and there's a subject matter in the header, but there's no agenda, and you walk in and you feel like half of the time is spent just trying to understand what the hell are we supposed to be talking about, you know? Like, and you're throwing out all this stuff, and at the end of it, you leave the conference room and you're like, wow.
That was a wasted hour. No. What actually did we accomplish in that? I know. Because don't you think sometimes people have meetings to have meetings, and once you get trained, like Toastmasters, you can get a lot done in an hour because you're moving right along. I can't believe what you can do in an hour. But when there is no agenda, when you're out in the public, you do see it just going on. And I can get that way too. I can get chatty. You've been on the phone with me, you know, and you've had to say, you know what, let's get this going. But I understand that. I need to hear that. But that was during COVID because I had nobody else to talk to, right? I'm getting better. But you understand going in with an agenda, you need to go look down. And you know, I know at our club, we're going to be done in an hour. So no matter what happens, the sink could clog. We're getting done in an hour. When you don't know when you're going to get done, you start to wander. Do you not notice that with people? It's like, you know, they may not come back because they only are allocating you 1 hour. And how is that important is time management.
Yeah, that's one of the key fields that you learn. You learn time management, you learn listening skills, you learn how to evaluate someone, give someone feedback. We also have a portion of the Toastmaster meeting, which is a think on your feet or extemporaneous portion of the meeting, and that's a lot of fun. The individuals, what they need to do is they need to speak on a topic for 1 to 2 minutes. That really gets you to make sure that you're getting to your point right away rather than rambling on and on and on. So I like that portion. Sometimes though, and that's great because that's a great way to you work on your elevator skills. Maybe you have a small business. Maybe you want to be able to get someone's attention right away. That is a great way to practice your elevator speech. And it's just a lot of fun. And the great part is you learn a lot of great information about some of your Toastmaster members as well. There is a whole educational program that Toastmasters International has. It's called Pathways, when it doesn't really mean anything to anybody. But what it is, there's 300 competencies that you can gain by going through the Toastmaster program. It is probably one of the best educational programs that I have seen. It's very interactive. You can do a lot of work at home. You can watch podcasts. There are speech topic. Well, they never give you a speech topic because you can always talk about what you want to talk about. But what you do is they give you guidelines. Maybe your very first speech that you do, you talk about yourself for 4 to 6 minutes. Now, most people can talk about themselves for 4 to 6 minutes, but sometimes they want to talk about themselves for 30 minutes. That's where we go back to the timing. It's like, no, we have a timer. We're going to put that little red card up. That means stop.
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, so let's talk about business because a lot of us, this is what we want to do is help. How many of us have been to a presentation or a network event where they had somebody present and we've lost interest, and you probably know there's something missing, and that's one thing Toastmasters does. It helps you train to do, you know, to handle those situations, how to get your product across. But a lot of us are like, you know, we're like on these Zoom meetings and people are speaking, and to be honest, Lisa, I mean, I listen to you because you're very interesting, and you do come across as very confident. You know what you want to say. But how many right now today they don't even realize that people are like pushing a button, not even listening to them because they're going on and on. Can you share with us, you know, the importance of getting these communication skills so you don't get turned off? How's that? Am does that make sense, or what do you?
Absolutely. We are in the mobile, quick digital world right now. If you cannot grab someone's attention right away, they're going to go on and they're going to move on to something else. It's like, nope, I've got dinner that I have to make, or I've got a kid that I need to take care of, or my dog's barking at me, or my cat's climbing on my computer.
Right.
So there's lots of different things that could cause distractions. One of the things that I like about the program that we have through Toastmasters is there's lots of different areas that you can work on. If you want to work just on your leadership skills, you can work in the leadership realm. We have effective coaching, we have like motivational strategies, presentation mastery. I think that's really important, especially in this digital world, making sure that you can speak and present yourself well online. Make sure that when you are speaking that you're looking into your camera, that you're not reading, and because if you are sitting here reading something and you're looking down here, you are not going to get someone's attention. When you're in meetings and you're sharing your video or you're sharing your screen, make sure that you're engaged. And those are things that we learn in a Toastmaster meeting.
Okay, so I want to talk about the leadership thing too, because I've taken those roles on and it's changed my life. You've been in it for 30 years and you've seen how many people have blossomed. I don't know what criteria it takes to get it, but when people start taking on these leadership roles, talk about how much they start to get leadership roles at work.
Absolutely. I love the leadership aspect of Toastmasters. I was in 2010, 2011, what they called at that time the district governor, which is the grand poobah, or the kind of like a CEO of the District 62 Toastmasters, which at that time we had about 1,800 members throughout the state of Michigan. And I had a volunteer organization. Now, how many of you are in volunteer organizations trying to lead a volunteer organization? Sometimes when you have volunteer organizations, it's like leading a colony of cats. So you have to pull this one cat here, you have to pull this other cat there, and lots of things happen. So the leadership part of Toastmasters is wonderful. It starts really at the individual club. There are 7 different individuals within the Toastmaster club or within your organization that are the leaders, and they each have a certain role. There's a treasurer, there's a president, there's all different kinds of roles. And what they are learning is they learn different skills. We have trainings twice per year for all of our leaderships. And that is truly amazing. That's where actually all of the leaders come together and we share different skills on how we can better our Toastmaster clubs and our Toastmaster world. But the leadership organization, the leadership part is just truly amazing. Then, of course, there are areas where you can be like in an area or a division and a district. So there's other levels that you can gain within Toastmasters, all the way up to Toastmasters International.
And one more thing, I know Steph wants to ask you a question too, but it is a networking opportunity too. So you are being exposed to so many different people. And that's one thing I like. I think that's why it keeps us in, because we hear about the latest what's going on and share a little bit about that once we get through COVID, that some of the opportunities of this is a huge networking people throughout the state.
Absolutely. Throughout the state and throughout the world. When I was a district leader, I was part of a region which was basically parts of Canada. We had Illinois, we had Indiana, we had Pennsylvania. We had a lot of different areas that I know. So I've got Toastmaster friends from all around the world. Actually, last night I participated in a worldwide leader Toastmaster group that actually it started in California, and there were individuals from India on this Toastmaster meeting, and it is just truly amazing. It's fun in that networking area that you can meet people from different cultures. You can see how different people around the world utilize the skills that they're learning within the Toastmaster program. And I absolutely love the whole networking part. I feel that my friends within Toastmaster, they're my friends, they're my family. Right. I have so many good friends that I have known throughout my Toastmaster career.
But you don't really have to. I'm going to jump into you and ask you this. You don't really have to be an extrovert That's why I want people to know that you can be silent and still, when you speak, be very powerful. Share a little bit about the different types of people that come, that it's not like somebody like me that's very boisterous, because I heard from a voice coach, your voice is the most powerful thing you could do. Your words are the most powerful thing, and your conviction and what you believe in. But talk about, you don't have to be, you're not sitting there with all of them like me. But some of the quiet ones, when they speak very powerful, and they keep your attention. So share a little bit about that, because I don't want people to think it's all like us. I'm like an I'm an extrovert, but there's a lot of people that aren't.
There are so many introverts that Toastmasters has been able to change their lives. And maybe they're still the introvert, but the information and what the skills that they're learning, a lot of times introverts are people who like to listen. They like to sit back. We had one person years ago in my BDO Toastmaster Club that he did not want to talk. All he ever wanted to do was be the timer, because at the end of that's the only time he had to talk. He had to give a report at the end of the meeting on what the people said. So he never wanted to talk in any other area, but he sat back there. He attended the club meetings. He gleaned the great information that people were sharing with him. He watched, he saw, he listened, and then he was able to act. And it was so beautiful when he finally got up and did his first speech, his icebreaker speech. And we've had people, there was one lady in one of my clubs who loved the club, but she was deathly afraid to speak. What she did, it took her about 5 years to go through our first manual, and we had this manual back at that time, and that was 10 speeches, and it took her about 5 years to get through that speech. So the beauty of Toastmasters is you can use it and go through the program at your own pace. You don't have to be a jackrabbit. You don't need to be really super fast. You can go a turtle's pace, or you can go any pace you want. It's really all about how you want to help yourself.
Oh dear, we're almost have to wrap this up. I'm sorry I overshadow you, but this is something I do love and I'm passionate about, as you know it. Go ahead, ask her a question to wrap this up. So sorry, dear.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And you know what? You're a prodigy and a testament to what Toastmasters can do for other people. And I think that communication is something that's essential. And one thing that I loved about what you said earlier, just a minute ago, was the opportunity to engage with people from all different walks and all different countries, and learn, in addition to great communication, emotional intelligence and cultural intelligence. Mm-hmm. Because in this world that we live in today, that is a very important element into connecting and driving businesses and people forward. I would love to know how we can tap into Toastmasters. I'm not familiar with the organization. This is I've seen it from afar. I've known a couple people in it, but this has been really helpful for me to better understand. And I'm sure there's a lot of me's out there. How can we tap in as individuals outside of companies to Toastmasters, and where can we go?
The first step is, if you know anybody, ask them. But actually, if you go to toastmasters.org, that is the Toastmasters International website. They have a wonderful website that is full of great, helpful information. If you want to find a local club near you, there's a little, right up on the top part of the homepage, there's something that says Find a Club. What you can do, you click on the Find a Club, type in your zip code or your city, and it'll bring up a plethora of different Toastmaster clubs. I know just in the greater Grand Rapids area, we have about 25 different clubs that meet at all different times of the day. The evening, we've got clubs that meet early in the morning at 7:15. If you're an early bird, we have clubs that meet during the noon hour from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We have clubs that meet in the evenings, maybe from 5:30 to 6:30. That's when our Granville Jenison Chamber Toastmaster meets.
They are everywhere.
Some of them,
yeah,
they are.
Go to YouTube, watch some of the most famous, not famous, but successful Toastmasters speakers. And they will all tell you they were really shy. They couldn't do it. They're standing on stage. You know what, Lisa, we're going to have you back. Steph, anything else? Because we're wrapping this up.
No, Lisa, you've been a great guest. We appreciate your insight, and thank you for opening a door of opportunity for our listeners to tap into today.
Sure. Well, thank you both.
Thank you. We'll have you back, because you know how much I love Toastmasters. I want everybody to do it because I think it's going to change people's lives. But I'll see you at the meeting. Anybody else want to join in, you can reach out to you or me for more information. But I want to thank you for being here, and you were fabulous as a guest.
All right. Thank you so much, Pamela. And it's great seeing you, Stephanie. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right, my dear. Take care.